So once again, good afternoon. On behalf of the organizers of this fair, we welcome all of you to this afternoon session. And we are glad that you stayed behind, for especially those of you who were here quite early in the morning, and then you also made the time to join the knowledge and receiving direction as far as the job market is concerned and the opportunities that COVID has also presented to us. So we'll begin the afternoon session. I will want to call on Gifty Mote. Gifty, are you here? Great. Gifty is the Administrative Director, Institute of ICT Professionals, Ghana. Let's welcome her with a hand of applause. But this afternoon, that's all you're going to do, be clapping until she takes the mic. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and welcome to the INDAC-TED edition brought to you by IIPGH and its partner, Afford Foundation. Okay, so at IIPGH, we are an association of professionals in the ICT industry, and the aim largely is to bring under one umbrella, professionals, businesses, and students. What we also do is to train, and this training, we start with the very, very young ones as early as 6 years, because we believe in catching them young so we can prepare them for a better future. We also do a lot of advocacy and then educate the public by organizing a lot of webinars. We do publications in the area of ICT and technologies to educate the public on emerging technologies, and also provide opportunities of networking. As we came here this morning, I believe we've made a lot of contacts, and that is what IIPGH believes in doing. Okay, now, the first INDAC-TED was first held at UCC, and you can see on the image on the screen, it was on cybersecurity. And these are just images from the first INDAC-TED, which was held at UCC. We also had the second one, which was held at the Accra Technical University, and you can see in images, those were the panelists of the just last INDAC-TED we had. INDAC-TED will be held every quarter, so this is the first, and then the second one. Do we have whole technical university students in the house? Okay, can you give us a wave? Okay, so hopefully, the second INDAC-TED, all things being equal, should be in Ho and should be at your institution. Yeah, so these are just images from the second symposium that was held at Accra Technical University. Yeah, one of the, so a section of students, organizers, we can see in the image. Yeah, so our media partners being Business and Financial Times published the second INDAC-TED symposium, and that's what we see now being displayed on the screen. Yeah, so this year, like I mentioned, this is our first INDAC-TED, which is Industry, Academia, Tech. Industry, Academia, Tech Dialogue, which seeks to bridge the gap between industry and academia to train graduates so that when they come out of school, their skills will match what industry is looking out for. And the second one, as I mentioned, hopefully should be in Ho, and then we'll have a third one between July and September, and the fourth one between October and December. So please sit back and join this interactive session. Thank you very much.
Gifty, thank you. That was such a beautiful summary. Last year was great. For every step of the way, we've had students who had the opportunity to interact with industry, and they, not just a enormous experience, but a number of them have been inspired because on these platforms are also highly professional individuals who guide. Sometimes you are in school and the kind of program that you're doing, you don't seem to have an understanding of any direct bearing that it has with the job industry. And this is actually the platform where you receive knowledge and then you are able to sharpen your skills for the world of work. We want to welcome the project manager of AFOS Foundation, Digicap GH, Hannah Schlingman. And Hannah will just put in a brief statement and then we'll continue with the presentation.
Good afternoon. Nice to see from this perspective. Just want to take a moment. You're all welcome once again to the Inducted Forum this afternoon at the Tech Job Fair. We're really happy to have you all here. We're excited about this event. And with the previous presentation, we've seen how events are growing. And that is also how we all are growing. We start with something, and we keep learning with experience. So whatever we do is never complete. And with where we are in, if we reflect it and we continue, it keeps growing and building up onto that. So I really liked to see how we started and where we are now. And I think each and every one of us can witness that in many moments in our lives, that we start and keep building up. And that is what we're all here for. I wonder if you know this feeling when you have prepared for a presentation or for seeing something, sharing something somewhere. And then the moment comes, you've prepared that maybe yesterday or a week ago, and the moment comes and you feel it's not even, it's already outdated. And yeah, I wonder if that is what is happening in our times, or that things go so quickly and change so quickly. I wish I could put all the impressions that I have gathered today already into my little presentation here today. But that is not possible. It will be a whole lot, so I will stick to roughly what I have prepared. I think this also happens when, or this is the story that we're told, and I guess it is true that things we study at our universities or in other courses, once we are through with that, some of that is already outdated. And therefore, we believe activities like this one are very critical and important to keep the dialogue between academia and the industry very alive, so that we know what is actually happening and we keep building up ourselves. Yeah, times are changing quickly. Like if I remember 10 years ago, I witnessed a conversation. I was with some friends and they were discussing, or a friend of a friend was saying he's now going into app development, and they were discussing and I could just see they were so excited. And it was like they were just blah, 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 and I was witnessing, sitting there, kind of just listening to their conversation, and I didn't understand anything because I had no clue what an app was. That's like 10 years ago, roughly. I don't know exactly. But if I look at that now, I don't think there's anyone in the room who hasn't used an app today. And yeah, we kind of can hardly imagine how to even navigate our lives without those things now. So yeah, our communication today has changed, keeps changing, and we leave these digital footprints and things even sometimes before we step our real foot onto the ground in the morning. Before we take our shower, we have already created data and left footprints in the digital sphere. So this era of digitalization, we are right in it. And as the Air Force Foundation, we believe that development of private sector of the industry needs the skilled people who really build up this industry. And we've heard this morning, we need skills not only in the hard skills but also in the soft skills, and it's on each and every one of us to define which ones are the hard and which ones are the soft ones, but obviously both are very important. And the Air Force Foundation has come up with a project that is the Digicap initiative. Digicap is an abbreviation for digital capacities. This digital capacity building is what we are doing here. It's a project in collaboration with the University of Cape Coast and the University in Accra, here the Accra Technical University, and partnership with IIPGH and Get Innotized and a lot of other partners who are supporting us in our activities. We offer training in ICT and data management, data science, and business intelligence to students who are still at the university, and we offer these co-curricular courses to them. Many of the students who are taking part in our programs are also present here today. I'm happy you've all made it and keep growing and exploring and networking and then using the skills that you're learning in the programs. So the programs that we have are not only for students who are already in the tech sphere, who are already maybe studying computer science or anything related, but we offer the ICT qualification programs to all students from all disciplines. So someone also from marketing or from psychology or from agriculture can join our programs if only the passion and the willingness to learn and the passion for technology is there. And yeah, the access is a bit restricted, so because we are working for now only with the 2 universities. So my address here is rather to the present employers to believe in a win-win situation when you engage those young professionals and let them get their first exposures. A tech job fair, to my understanding, is not just to hit a full-time job, but also to network and get first contacts, probably starting with an internship or a first engagement here and there. The Digicap program is now, we are now building up a program that we call the Junior Consultancy Program, where the students who have been doing the training courses in data science, business intelligence with us, after the 3 or 6 months program, team up and offer consultancy services with the skills that they have learned to small and medium-sized companies. And we are very excited about that, seeing the young professionals going out and applying what they have learned right away in the private sector. So for you to have a little idea of what is happening in our classrooms and how we do our activities, we've brought along a little video, and I would play that for us now.
security coordinator. Watchman. Background you can put. Okay? Or you can blur your background, so it's only your face that's showing. Every other thing, maybe you have your aunties or your little children will come walking around. What am I going to do after school? Think on these three things: values, interests. Now, your interests will give you motivation to encourage them what? Innovative.
I'm Rita Damka, student of Code UCC. I actually joined Digicap and I chose business intelligence. And this business intelligence comprises of IT plus business ideas. So I did this to empower myself, to move myself from my comfort zone.
So the knowledge acquired by a student can be applied practically by organizing capsules for the students. So during these events, students are given the opportunity to choose their own real lifetime project.
The world is evolving into a data-driven world where data is important for decision making.
I actually gained skills into performing data analysis in the right way. I've also gained skills in using Microsoft's Power Platform tools to actually create low-code solutions to help solve business problems.
Who's the winner? That's not bad. You know, you can put at the background something related to your brand, right? So Jeffrey is also not only advertising himself as an individual, but his brand, his business, right?
Right, see somebody who's feeling chest like, hello everyone, presenting to you today on photosynthesis. It's different from hello everyone, good morning, I'm presenting to you on photosynthesis. You see, there are two tones of representation. Some of them will just make you sleep. Digicap. Gain a competitive edge before graduation.
So for everyone who is in that program or who joins similar programs, such as the Digicap educative programs in the same direction, I wish you all the best. Keep growing and exploring and networking here today, and have a wonderful event.
Hannah, thank you very much. And I have always said that this is just a summary. If you are the Flex Lab and you see the details of what they do, just spending about an hour or a whole day with the instructors, you see that you leave the Flex Lab rather enriched and more knowledgeable than you came. There is so much to say, but unfortunately we don't seem to have time as our very good friend this evening, so we'll just go straight to what we have. We are going to receive a presentation, and we ask that you give it the maximum attention. Do your best if you can to also write down some notes, because we'll get to some discussion segment where you will have the opportunity to ask questions since you came and since you started listening to the presentation. So want to give attention to that. And to do that presentation is the Chief Executive Officer of Ubuntu Technologies, Dr. Stefan Nwele. Let's welcome him with a hand of applause. Is that all you can do? Is that all you can do for the man? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, so I'll be talking on the topic critical ICT skills required to access tech jobs. So I represent Ubuntu Technologies. I'm the CEO of Ubuntu Technologies, and I would start with, you can skip this. I'll start with the background and how I think this is a topic that I'm passionate about. And I wear two hats. I wear a hat as, please go ahead, as a person in academia. So I lecture in Ashesi University, and I'm in a computer science department. Please go ahead. There are a lot of slides, and so you have to follow my hand, so at least you can. So I represent in academia, and at the same time also in entrepreneurship. In academia, I lecture in Ashesi University, and in the computer science department and MIS. And I've done a lot of teaching in other universities as well, but I'll use this as a case study. At the same time, too, I represent Ubuntu Technology, and as an entrepreneur, I am the co-founder of Ubuntu Technologies, and we are into AI analytics, and we do other solutions in terms of software development and artificial intelligence. And I'll use a lot of examples, my personal experience. And I think that it's important to listen to me because we are at an advantage. If you look at my size, I'm just like you, right? I'm not as big as other people, so you can relate, right? So there are certain disadvantages that you come across anytime you are going to seek a job. Looking at me completing university, with all the skill, with all the background that we have, how do we militate against all the competitions that we have around us and still get a job? What are the skill sets that we need to do? What is the university supposed to do? And I think there's been a lot of battle between academia and the real world. I have worked in MTN for a long time, like 9 years, and industries continue to complain that we do not get the right student, the right skill to be able to get them to work. Everywhere in the world is almost the same, but the degree of which it's happening is what is different. The university's whole job, an accurate job, is to ensure that we train students to transfer skill. That's what a university is supposed to do. So that on your own, you can start learning certain kind of things, right? That's what the university is supposed to do. Obviously, when you go to enterprises, there will be innovations, and there are other things that they would need you to be able to learn on the job and be able to work. So these are the two things that are militating against each other. So whilst industry is competing, is crying that the students are not able to do whatever they are supposed to do, the university is also saying that we are doing our best. How do I stand in? I employ people. Over a period of time, over 200 employees have passed under my hand. I employ these people. At the same time, I teach in the university. What are we teaching these students? How are we teaching them? There is a new terminology called experiential learning, which in universities are utilizing. Ashesi utilizes that a lot. And I see a lot of presentation like from Azubi and all those people going on, I see. These are all experiential learning. How do you learn in such a way that you can transfer skill? There were certain skills that I learned whilst, no, please go back. There were certain skills I learned whilst I was in university. It never helped me when I was in the real world. But what the university did for me was for the ability for me to be able to learn other things with the foundation that it gave to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Did you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so, no, go back. So my experience, so this is how I started my career. I started my career as a senior research assistant in the University of Cape Coast. And I was just a teaching assistant and graduated to be a senior research assistant. And I went into telecom. So I understand technology. I worked in, like I mentioned, MTN, in all the aspects, so from BSS to OSS and network administrator. After that, I also worked with Huawei for 1.5 years. So telecom skill, I have a fair understanding. other systems administrative skill. I have an understanding, and I also worked as a software engineer in Huawei at the same time. So I cut across all these things. What are the experiences that I want to be able to share with you? That's what I'll be able to talk about. And at the same time, too, I worked as a big data consultant. My PhD was into ICT management, and I focused on big data. I worked as a consultant in terms of big data, working on complex databases and all those ones. These are the experiences that I'll bring to bear that you'll be able to emulate as a coach to you guys if you want to be able to pick that. And again, as an entrepreneur, I've worked in leadership. We've spoken a lot about soft skill and hard skill and all those ones. These are jargons. But what are the things that we need to be able to do that? I would also call it common sense. We need common sense for us to be able to get working. From an entrepreneurial point of view, what are those skills that we need to be able to talk about? Now, there are dynamisms that happens today. And what are these dynamisms? When I was in school, there are things that I learned, like I already said, that I didn't need to learn today. Please go on. What are those things? Go on. In my first degree, I learned courses like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, in a computer science department. These are the things that I learned as a first degree computer science. But in today's university, barely will you see these kind of courses. I'm not sure you'll be exposed to all these things. What it means is that a time would come that even programming, and I think in our previous presentations, others said it, where you don't even need to do any coding. All you need to do is to do drag and drop. Recently in my office, we needed to do a configuration between our system and a banking system. And what it meant is that we needed to write codes within a short possible time. Our developers, what they did is that they installed a tool which we all know called Postman, and just did the parameters, picked the lines of code, and integrated it without any line of coding. This is where technology is going. What kind of skill do you need to be able to do well? Whilst a student, I have a lot more people saying that they were not good at coding, even teaching in the universities. You see a lot more people complain about they don't know how to code. They don't know how to do all these things. These are all fine. Everybody and the kind of skill that is needed in every industry. So we have tools like Joomla, we have tools like WordPress and all those ones, which today in our time when we're building websites, it was like a big job. So if you know how to build a website, you can earn a lot of money, you can get an easy job to be able to do that. Today, you can use open source tools like WordPress, like Joomla and all those ones. Within 30 minutes, you build a dynamic website, content provision, right? These are things that are happening today. In the past, we needed to learn all these things. Today, it's not like that. I'm just challenging you that, look, whatever the university is going to do is to enable you, give you the foundation for all these things that we know today. We talk about there'll be a time where when you go, all these things that we are about to do, you become a cake. I think our initial presenter mentioned that. Whatever you do today, by the time you finish school, it has become obsolete. That is what is going to happen. What is the university supposed to do? I'm reiterating for the final time. We are supposed to ensure that all these skills that we are giving to you, you can transfer it and learn a new thing. Please go on. What is a job? What is a tech job? Go on. These are some of the jobs that I think we've already spoken about, but I'm going to take it from a different perspective. Picking our organization as a case study, we are into 3 areas: artificial intelligence, big data, software development, and valued-added service. Now, let me pick a normal software engineering process. So you want to be able to build a small application that would allow you to collect payment from people and now check your inventory. Just a small application. This is the journey that is likely to happen. You need somebody who would want to go and get the requirements, so the engineering aspect of understanding that what do you want as a company? I want to be able, now you begin to ask certain questions. All these requirement engineering are the things that you do. When these things are done, you pick it to the organization. Then the business team would say, okay, did you understand the requirement that was set? Oh, I understand it. We need to cost it. So costing is given to that one. We pick the understanding of whatever we've picked as a requirement and bring it back to the organization that, did we capture your requirement very well as is? The organization says, yes, I understood whatever was captured. Then now we bring it to other person. He says that a solution architect who understood the product, the business, and now understands how the developers, how the hardcore engineers will be able to work on, and build database structure. does normalization on the database, ensure that the integrity of the database is very done well, and draws all those flowchart diagram, sequence diagram, all those ones are done, and now given to the developers who know how to now build the system, just like a normal a mason would do when an architect brings in the designer, right? So the solution architect does all those ones and gives to the developers. The developers pick this solution and now begin to implement. They implement, and now somebody has to ensure that whatever has been built is of quality. So now quality assurance begins to play a role. It goes through iteration, till the quality assurance person says that I am fine. Now it is ready for us to be able to host the system. So we have to host it where? Are we going to have it on a normal computer, in the office, or in the cloud? So now you need some people who understand the cloud and all those ones. Then we upload all those ones in the cloud. Whilst it's in the cloud, you have to be worried. Because it means that so far as you have exposed yourself to internet, any bad person can come after you. So the security of the system must be protected. So that is why now you need to be able to make sure that, look, how do we protect the security? How do we make sure that our data is valid? Whilst all those ones are happening, you need to ensure that you have picked data from certain people. The integrity of the data must be honest. If somebody comes to steal the data, am I protected? So data protection, very important. So how do we ensure that these things are done? Somebody who understands all those ones must also pass it. So we call it privacy by design or security by design. All those ones has to be done, right? When these things are done, we need to analyze. So now it is hosted. People are doing transactions and all those ones. Businesses want to be able to be innovative. So we have analysts who say that, okay, the profitability has grown to this place. It is now we are making this amount of money. This Tuesday, a lot more people didn't buy. Can we do promotion for people to be able to buy our services? So data analysts, data engineers, data scientists are there to be able to do all those ones. So I will not be able to speak about a lot, but I'm just giving you a whole chain, how businesses run. This is what happens in our business every day. Now, whatever I have explained, at each point, there are job roles there. What are those specific ICT skills that are needed there? I spoke about please go back. I spoke about the product manager, which was the first thing, who would understand the product. I spoke about the solutions architect, which is also a skill that you need to be able to have to do that. The software engineer, who will be building the platforms. The quality assurance, who would ensure that the system is of good quality. We have the systems and data security, who are responsible for all those ones. We have the cloud computing, who are there and ensuring that data engineering. So in our organization at Impuntu, all these things are roles that are important, who are actual human beings who are working on our project, right? And by and large, as the business, please go to the next slide. As the business began to grow, we realized that data became enormous. And what big data says that it starts with the 3 V's. At what velocity is the data? Because as I'm speaking right now, there is data being kept, right? So at what velocity is it coming? So it's the speed of the data, the different variety of data that is coming. So it's coming in terms of voice, images, videos, and all those ones. Different variety of data that is coming. And we have veracity and all those ones, the validity of the data. How do you manage all these data? So as a company, there are specific skills that from Impuntu point of view, it's needed. Those who know how to use systems like the Kafka, like the Elasticsearch, like the Grafana, and all those ones. And I want you to write these things. It's very important. These 3 things that I've mentioned, please take note of that one. Anyone who knows how to use Kafka, Grafana, and this Elasticsearch, everywhere in the world, you'd get a job right now. Because for us as a company, we process over 100 million of data, even in a week. So these data, notification, the handshakes that are happening, how do we make sense out of all those ones? You cannot use your normal database and make sense out of all those ones. These are hard skills that we need. Because at the end of the day, people run from the normal development in terms of Java and all those ones. But these are things that are needed. So it is important that we understand. And your ability to also pick algorithms and break it in such a way. Because if you come to our company, one of the things that would interview you on is on your ability to build algorithms and data structure in those Googles and all those ones. That's what they would interview you on. So I think these are skills that are also very important. As for nanotechnology, we don't use it, but it's a new word that is coming. Whilst we are building all these data in our repository, there are terminologies like edge computing. So how do we make sure that instead of processing all the data in the cloud, we want to process the data also close to our system. This skill is very important. How do you get a skill in terms of edge computing and fog computing? It is important because everybody goes to the cloud. And in Africa, not everywhere you'd have internet. In my house, when you come, sometimes the data fluctuates and all those ones. You want to be able to work, you don't get the data in a way that is fine. That's fine. But if I had the data close to my system, then I'll be able to perform certain kind of analytics before taking to the cloud. So fog computing, very, very important for us to be able to learn. And there are other technologies which I wouldn't bore you. So in our organization, especially in Ashesi, we also try to train students on all these things like cloud computing to ensure that we prepare them to be able to transfer the skill in a way that it is. Okay. So now at Impuntu again, the next thing that we are doing is try to build our ERP on a blockchain technology. We have not started this, but these are things that we would need. So anyone who has understanding in terms of blockchain technology, we would need those kind of expertise. And I'm sure there are a lot of organizations also who needs that. These are skills that are important for you to have. Where do you have to work? So most of the time, we have told you about the hard skill, the soft skill, the technical skill, what do you have to do and all those ones. What is the posture, what's the attitude you need to be able to have. This is my suggestion and my opinion. I would recommend to most of you sitting here that there are many jobs in a startup. There are many jobs that are out there. I see a lot of booths that's there. But most of the time, as a student, what we look up to is the lives of MTN, APSA, Barclays Bank, UN, GIZ. These are the companies that we want to work with. It is fine to start to work there. But I can tell you that what you are going to do there, you are going to be part of a process. You might not end up learning much as you would want because these are big organizations who would want to be able to do all these ones. Our company provides services to about 18 banks. Why are the banks not doing it? About telecom companies. Why are they not doing it? Why are they relying on us? Because companies like us, we are very disorganized. We do not have high financial expectation to meet your needs, to be able to pay you the monies that these organizations will do. But what we will do is that we will help you increase the skill so that after 1, 2 years, 3 years, whatever you need from these big organizations, you can get it. And you even become a big worth of person to our organization, because if you know how to do all these things, it is important. If you work in companies like Impuntu or any other startup, you know how to use Grafana, you know how to use Python. One person, you can do a lot of things at the same time. You can be able to multitask. Most people write on their CVs that I can multitask, I can work under pressure, I can work all those ones. But after working with me for about 18 months, when you give them work, they begin to complain that there's too much pressure. Then I told them that, did you deceive me in your CV? You did not want to deceive me. So please, let's try and make sure that we work together. So I would suggest that where you have to work are places where it looks as if they're a bit of disorganization. This is my opinion. And I can agree with Jack Ma, who said the same thing in his video that, look, in smaller organizations, you would have an opportunity to learn as many things that you can. Because we have built systems for big organizations that are being utilized. Because they are not going to do that themselves. They will rely on people. And they'll just ensure that the security of it is fine. So you get increased career skill from working with a startup. This is what I recommend for you to work. You'll get agility. This soft skill and all those ones, you get it in some way. Because whilst you are doing all those ones, you make mistakes. You can make a mistake in a startup, but you cannot make a mistake in a big organization. Can you imagine if there's a small problem and the whole system goes down with MTN? It's not going to be easy. It's a security problem. But if you come and make a mistake in Impuntu, it's just, why did you do all those ones? Let's learn our lesson. This is what you'd get. So I recommend this to you. This is something, looks like it's a thematic area, which I'm going to jump over this thing. Time is far spent, so I will not bore you with all those ones. In as much as we've spoken about the hard skill and all those ones, I'll still re-emphasize that these things are very important. Because whatever you are going to do, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to share your skill, because it's no more about economy of what? Skill. One of my mentors told me about economy of skill. So how do we make sure that we can spread economy of skill? We are going to be able to find people who have analytic thinking, those people who are able to solve problems and all that. So these are things that I would want to say, and I would want to say thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
Let's appreciate Dr. Stefan for the knowledge that he shared with us. Did you have any understanding of what he just presented? Okay. I don't know your field, but I think he so did his best to come to our level, to the best of my knowledge, and also share with us some of the operations of his outfit. What we are going to have now is a discussion. We're going to have a panel discussion. And this discussion is also critical because for what Dr. Stefan shared with us, we're going to pick some critical examples, home examples that you can easily relate with. So it's my honor to welcome Professor Dr. Himel. Dr. Himel is he's the Federal Chairman Association of Catholic Entrepreneurs Germany. Let's welcome him with a hand of applause as he takes his seat right here on stage. Please keep the applause coming. We will be listening to Madame Muniratu Musa. Madame Muniratu Musa is a senior engineer with MTN Ghana. Let's welcome Madame with a hand of applause. In this critical discussion, we would also be listening to Mr. Kwame Lanyon. Mr. Lanyon is the CEO Admin Telecom Accra. Let's welcome Kwame with a hand of applause. Okay, so the job of my discussant this evening, is to make some brief remarks on what Dr. Stefan just presented, very brief. And when they are done, we're going to have the Q&A session because I don't know the question that is on your mind. So we're going to take that up. And it's going to be a very brief time, and then we'll be off from this place. Is that okay? All right. So let's begin to take some brief statement from our panelist, Professor Dr. Himel. I should forget the titles. Well, in Ghana, we don't forget titles like that. Okay, so if that's okay with you, I think we all had the opportunity to listen to Dr. Stefan on some of the hard skills that are needed, some of the soft skills that are needed. In this fair, for instance, you've had the opportunity to see the background of the people that are presented here. What's your impression so far, connecting it to the presentation?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is it good? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for this really important question, because generally speaking, we follow our career path and we tend to overestimate the core of our career path. So I know a lot of communication people, and they forget that sometimes you need knowledge for communicating. But I also know a lot of people in the digital field, and they forget that they do not only need analytical skills, but they need communication skills. So what we really need is a structure where I think we should think of a T in our personal knowledge. What does T mean? It means we need one level of deep expertise where you really know more than others. But you also need a level of fairly decent knowledge in other surrounding fields. As I said it in this case, digital, for example, and communication, or communication and some expertise in there. And this is why it is so fascinating to live in these times, because with the digital transformation, we have a new challenge. And this challenge is what I say, the strategy for our personal knowledge management. It's something for you, for everybody of you. Why is it so? The strategy of your personal knowledge management means that you have to decide for yourself, where is the field of your deep knowledge, where you are an expert? Where is the field of your orientation knowledge, half knowledge, you know something but not really deep? And where's the field of your non-knowledge? Because the digital world is so vast, so huge. You cannot know everything. And it's good to take the strategic decision. Here I want to go deep. Here I need some orientation knowledge. And there I simply leave it aside because I cannot do everything. This is a good strategy for your own career. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. So, Munira, in the course of the breakout session, I had the opportunity to join. Which group did I join? Jobberman. And a couple of issues came up. You know, people, fresh graduate, they don't seem to have a lot of experience except from the classroom. There are people who come out of the classroom and yet every job opportunity is looking for an experience. We listen to Stephen who says, look, ensure that you start with the small organizations. That's where you can make all your mistakes. I want to pick up your input on that. Your microphone is off.
Yes, so I think I also agree with what Dr. Stefan said. I will just share a brief story of my own experience. When I finished my national service, I came to Accra in the search of a job. And the first job that I could land my hands on was, and the company was called Olafra. They were into manufacturing and installation of street lighting. And I'm proud to say that I was one of the members that did some of the street installations in Accra here and some portions of. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm just sharing a short story about how I started my career. After my national service, I came to Accra in search of a job. And I remember the first company I spotted was Olafra. They are into installation and maintenance of street lighting. I'm proud to say that I was part of the team that did some of the installations in Accra here. So I picked a couple of skills there. From there, I again felt that that company wasn't just enough for me, so I should still move on. I spotted another company called BRB. They were into manufacturing of transformers. And I remember a couple of times when I got there, the man was like, no, this job is not for women, this job is not for women. But I kept persisting, and one day he offered me the job of a technician to design transformers. And I had the support from the guys there and himself, and I think I picked a lot of learnings from there. And that is how come I spotted MTN, then was Spacephone. I was able to pass through my interview and got the job of a big company. So I really agree with Stefan when he says you should start with the smaller companies, and then you can move on to the big companies.
Thank you. So, Mr. Lanyo, not long ago, and I just want to put this in context. I think in Europe, one of the debates that has come up is the issue of property protection, data protection. And I think in Stefan's presentation, he majored on that a lot. We are looking at a situation where, in his presentation, he mentions that, look, a lot of people, possibly maybe as a result of the financial reward, want to start with the big companies. But what are the available smaller options for young graduates, at the same time offering internship and something that will keep people going? What opportunities are in the country?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for giving me this platform as well. What I have to say is that I'm talking about what I know, where we work. I'm one of the vendors of the operators. And what is happening actually is that integral part of their value chain already has been transferred to other companies. Okay, so what is happening is that if you are looking for a job that would give you the skills, I'm sorry to say that it's not by going to the big telcos actually, especially in the field of telecommunication, in the practical sense, because it is rather the vendors and then the subcontractors who can offer you the practical skills. MTN or the telcos 20 years ago had their whole value chain within the company. It means that they had their tower builders, they had their civil engineers, they had everything inside. But we could see that as time went on, they transferred a major part of their infrastructure to other companies. And as the other speaker was saying, you better work with a smaller structure because that is where the real job is. And that is where we get the experience. Unfortunately, if you work with sometimes big companies, you end up doing little things because they hardly have time for you to train you as such. So I believe that the right place to go is with the small teams.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Professor Himel, in Stefan's presentation, he touches on common sense. I don't know how this feature in your society, but if you have any experience dealing with, the youth or the younger generation, where do you see soft skills, hard skills merging common sense? I mean, how does the job market make demand of such skills?
Thank you very much. I think in a way it's fairly obvious. We live on one planet. Look at this planet. It's a simple look. Look at your sea. Look at your seashore. Look at the environment. Look at all the trouble we have in this world. And now, who should be scared more? Younger people or elder people? Well, really both, but you have many years before you. So we have to do something for doing that. And what I observe in this world is that young people are more and more concerned about the situation in this world. And they are more and more conscious that we need to work, yes, for making a living, yes, for making profit, but they also need to work for fulfilling a purpose, for giving a contribution to society, and for making this place a better place in the world. This is stronger than ever in the young generation. It has been strong in my generation too, but I think it's getting stronger and stronger. And I'm really happy about that, because it means that we shift away from a former wrong model of doing business, which was the neoliberal model, which was the model of the business of business, and look at profit and that's all. That's wrong, completely wrong. We all are part of the society, and a business, a company, is an actor of civil society. They are responsible. If you come here, walking, bicycle, taxi, whatever, but you take part in traffic, so you are responsible. And this is the thing. Companies are responsible, and we as young persons, not so young persons, we want to live up to this responsibility. So what I feel is that the sense of responsibility and even the sense of being connected to each other is getting stronger and stronger. In this sense, it is a good message in a world full of trouble. Thank you.
Also, Muniratu, would you want to make an addition to that? We are looking at the merging of soft skills, of hard skills, yes, and of common sense.
Yes, okay, let us look at these 3 points.
Great.
Now, the hard skills is normally something where you feel at home as an expert. You have learned something, you feel at home. I know how to do that. Very, very often, let me say, the soft skills are underestimated still today, and it is also, you must go out of your sort of comfort. If you like to solve a technical problem, you are focused, you are concentrated, you're in your flow. Something brings you, your mother maybe brings you something to eat. Oh, I have no time, I'm really, you're focused. But what does it mean? It means you forget an important part of life, and it is an effort to go out of that and to find out, does the other person understand? This is really, it's a very simple thing. When I was younger, I understood that in the end, if I talk to somebody, it's the other person to understand. It's not me. I understand my own words, hopefully, yeah? But it's the other person who would understand. And it is our task to help people to understand. And this is the most important task, I guess, for the soft skills. If you work in a company, help other people, make them understand, help them to understand. But what does it mean? It means you have to ask questions. You do not know what the other person knows. You have to come into a dialogue. This is different. And this is basically, I think, a very, very important part of what today is seen as soft skills. Now, the common sense. The common sense is something which really develops by going. And it means that you have to see a variety of factors. And you have to see that very often the pure solution is not feasible. 100% simply is very, very expensive. So really, when I was in consulting, I've been working with Boston Consulting Group during a couple of years, and I like to do good work. But they told me, wait a little, 80% in time normally is much better than 100% late. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but sometimes it is like that. Sometimes you have to say, what is the level of perfection really needed? And my, my example for that, and you can go home with that, is look, the number P. Everybody knows the number P, right? So the number P, and now we can discuss how many figures of the number P do we really need for our equation. 3.1415, and how many? You can discuss. If you are a perfectionist, maybe you have 100 digits behind the comma. That is useless, So what we need with a common sense is understand the adequate level of perfection needed for a task. And this really is exercising common sense. It's not easy. Think of the number P. Maybe in some occasions, even 3 is enough, not 3.1, not 3.14, and so on. So this is, and how can you achieve this? Talking to each other. Talk to each other and say, what is the level of perfection needed in which time? Because it's very, very often a time constraint behind. So I think this is the relationship between the hard skills, the soft skills, and the common sense.
Professor, thank you very much. We're trying to get a microphone for you so we can engage you on this. Great, we have it. I don't know the question on your mind though, but then Marvin is going to engage. You'll be taking the microphone and be asking your question. Let me ask Mr. Lagnon to also help us in the role of internship. Of course, in our traditional setting, we used to call it apprenticeship. I guess it's still working. So the role of internship and mentoring. Now, I'm asking this question because in the breakout sessions that I attended, quite interesting, I heard that someone had to intern for about 5 years in one company before he got the job. I want to get your understanding of the importance of mentorship, the importance of internship in acquisition of skills.
I think I'll still stay in my domain of operation. So far as we are concerned, when it comes to internship, is to try and then at least support someone without skills to acquire the skills, okay? But then most of the time, I think the issue of internship that we often face is as to whether, first of all, is the company ready to receive someone within and then have time to train the person. In most cases, either we are confronted with time as a factor, either space, or sometimes some legal matters. Okay. But then once the company is ready to accept the person for internship, I think the first thing is that one has to do is that the person must be given certain values, the core values of the company within which he's working. Because I believe that every company has a core value. Once the person has understood the core value of the company, then I believe that from there, whatever we teach him becomes easy. Okay. For instance, in our company, our core value, or one of our objectives, was to make Ghana the hub of the best installers in the country. Because a core value is very important. I don't know, when you talk to a German would tell you that precision is German. You understand? If you ask a Swiss, she will tell you that precision is Swiss. If you ask a French, she will tell you that they call it French touch. So I believe that when one gets into your company, the first thing is to give these values, and then we work on these values.
Okay.
The moment we take that precision is our goal. Whatever you do, we are in cabling, we are installers, okay? Whatever we do, we must abide by precision.
Okay.
That is what I understand by.
Thank you very much. May we have your thoughts? I don't know the question on your mind. Dr. Stefan, at this moment, you're supposed to join the discussant, so that, because I know that some of the questions will be coming to you. Don't worry, you start coming, we'll get you a seat. Yeah, I have Marvin is with a microphone there.
Okay, so I have a question myself.
Please do go ahead.
Just to start. So I have a question for the professor. Yeah, he mentioned a couple of important things I'd like to get clarity on. So you mentioned the T shape, where you pick a sector where you want to have deep knowledge in, you pick other sectors where you have general knowledge in, and others where you have no knowledge in. The question is, how does a young person decide, I need to specialize in A, be a generalist in B and C, and leave D for later? How do you balance this? That's my first question to you, Professor.
Thank you. A very clear question. Thanks a lot. And I think it's not that difficult, honestly. Of course, we don't know, because in a way, in a sense, the world is full of chances, but in a way also full of fog. So we don't know how to do that. But once you go for a career, you go for certain studies, of course, you are deepening something. And of course, even in, technology, digital technologies, you will go either for big data or for cyber security, but you will have a field of specialization. And this is the play and the game we are playing in society. We need specialization, and it is the big challenge that we need specialization, but still we need to talk to each other. So the first thing is to say, where do I want to go deep? This is really the first thing. But in doing so, then there is the second step where you have to say, okay, what else do I need? You know, if you have a garden, you have, of course, earth, and you have some plants, and maybe you need some water, of course, but it's a system. So you have an ecosystem of your deep knowledge. Look at the ecosystem. What is needed? What kind of other profession is there? How can I build a bridge of communication towards these other people? Where is their fact of interest? This is the field where I say it is what I call the orientation knowledge, you know, so we should have a little bit more than nothing, but it's not too deep. This is the second step, and you can do that simply analyzing the ecosystem of your deep expert specialization. And the third one is training. Train common sense. You know, what now, look at the number P, it's the example. What kind of precision is being needed? Sometimes a certain, you know, I tell you a story. Many years ago, I have been involved in the turnaround of a big German company, really high precision. I can even tell you the name because it's really, and they are a famous and good company, Carl Zeiss. They have been in deep trouble after the German reunification and at the brink of going bankrupt, really, 30 years ago. And I had to discuss with their board. And their board, they have been so proud to be really precise in the instruments. And I told them, I really took that example. They are doing, you know, optical instruments, for example, also surgical instruments, optic instruments, microscopes. And I asked one of the technical director in a board meeting, you would be the technical director, asked, sir, if I would drop one of your precision microscopes in the jungle, 30 degrees damp, and your son would find the microscope 30 years later, would there be condensation inside, yes or no? And the point is, they discussed this question. And after half an hour, I asked them, but wait a minute, how often will this case come up, you know? It is too infrequent. How often will you lose a microscope in the jungle and look at the same microscope 30 years later and look if there is condensation? They have been crazy about precision. Other example, they had a product where they said, okay, this product is perfect and all the competition products are rubbish. Then I showed them a test, a German test. They're like, oh, look, your competition product has been rated excellent and yours also excellent. Yes, but you know, they don't see the difference. But this is crazy. And this was then really wrong in the sense of business sense. If your level of perfection is too high to be paid off, too high to be demanded, then it is simply wrong. And this is something which is common sense. It's a matter of training. You cannot do it in one day, but you can ask. So look for your deep knowledge, look for the ecosystem, for the orientation knowledge, and let me say, look for the common sense training, talking to each other and looking how many digits of the number P is really necessary. I think this is a direction of the answer, and I don't think it's that difficult. It's simply by looking at what you are doing, where you want to go deep, and what is the ecosystem. So thank you for the question.
Marvin, thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 questions at a time. And then if you are directing your question to any of the resource persons, please feel free to do that. On my extreme left is Hemel, Muniratu, Lanyo, and then Stefan. So you can direct your questions to any of them or leave it hanging, and then we'll see who to give it to you. Who are you, sir?
My name is Jerry Kofi Ashiagbo. Okay, the question are in 2 folds. The first one goes to Dr. Stephanie and then Mr. Lanyo. Dr. Stephanie,
Stefan.
Doc.
Yeah, life is simple, eh?
Yeah. Doc, in your presentation, you mentioned that when we are looking for a job, we should stick to smaller companies, that they will give us more knowledge, or they will expand our skills on the job field. But even the small companies are looking for experienced people. Once we don't have the experience, how do we go about that? And then when it comes to technology or engineering-based jobs, that one, they look in Ghana, they look for experts. But when it comes to something that deals with book knowledge, it's for family-based system. Aren't you worried about this as well? So, I've forgotten the name again, but yes. When you made mention that, in your presentation, you made mention that the telcos, at first, they have their own system that they run all their affairs themselves. But I get to a point, they are now subcontracting it to other contractors. And these contractors, what we basically know, whenever the contracts have been given to them, they take us, with the youth, unemployed youth, they take us on contract basis. And they pay us peanuts. Are we not still building the unemployment capacity? Because you use me for 3 months for the job which the MTN should be doing and employ me entirely. You took me for 3 months, and then after 2 months, maybe something small, you lay me off, and your favorite remain at work. Is it not something that we should be worried about as well?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Yes.
Yeah. Next person? Yeah. Please ask a question.
All right. Please, my name is Ban Emmanuel. My question is for Dr. Stefani. I hope I'm right.
Stefan.
Stefan.
Yeah.
Okay. My question is there a platform or any institution that, where the industries can meet with the academia so that they will discuss about how the academicians can maybe reform their courses that they teach in the schools, that is the various universities? Because especially in the case of IT, you will complete maybe computer science or computer engineering, and then you do a lot of courses. And then going to look for a job, you realize that about 80 to 90% of the courses that you did, you are not going to use them at the job market. They are looking for new courses. And then you made mention in your presentation that the universities teach us so that we'll be able to learn new things. But if there's a place that these two people can come together to communicate, and then the schools will know that, oh, these are the kind of skills that the industry needs. So when they are doing their courses, they know the kind of courses that they will teach their students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marvin, I think there are a number of hands behind you.
Please, we have standing. Yeah.
Please, I'm Edward quite benoit. My question is being directed to the doctor in white. The only one. Please, my question is, as my brother was asking, when we go to the university, we actually have the chance to do a lot of courses. But I was having this issue that sometimes when maybe you are having software engineering, machine learning, and artificial intelligence in one semester, but yet maybe you want to specify in artificial intelligence, but the school will take it upon themselves and teach you everything, whereby you wouldn't even have the chance to know what you want to specify in anymore. So please, I want a clarification on this and how best as a student we can stand out and see how best we can go about this, because we are learning so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Stefan, I think you have the question. Can we take two more? Where are the ladies? Oh, we have a lady there.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Hekmat Sunde Mesani, and my question is to the lady among them. I want to find out if maybe she did or offered any engineering course at the university, and if no, how did she get into the tech field? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the last to complete the first 5.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
We'll come to you. We'll come to you.
Thank you very much. My question goes to Doctor. When he was delivering his speech, he spoke about common sense. And in the common sense, I want to ask Doctor if it will be possible for one to have building a spiritual background with regards so that you wouldn't fail in the job market.
Building what background?
Spiritual background. In
Scripture?
Spiritual.
Spiritual?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the common sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I guess we have a lot of the questions coming to you, Dr. Stefan, so we want to begin with you. It's okay if you begin with Edward or the last person.
Yeah. I'll try my best to see if I can remember all. So the first one, I'll start with anyone, so if I miss one, you can draw attention. So one was focusing on, is there a platform that industry and academia can come together to work together? There's been several platforms, several calls. So first, you hear on radio that people are complaining that there is a gap between academia and real world. That is a call. It's not a platform yet. Even IIPGH as an organization, several occasions have gone to other universities to bring their experience with universities to do that. I remember I played a role in one of them in Kumasi or so, and I keep seeing them going to, you've been hearing partnership with the whole and other institutions. IIPGH has a vast experience in terms of the wealth of experience from different stakeholders, and they bring that on board to train universities. This platform that we are having as it stands now is an opportunity to see what are some of the things that academia can learn from. You'd see the presentation that was had. People spoke about the hard skills, specific hard skills. God can train students like you or graduates like you, and soft skills. So there are a lot of platforms, but I am not too sure if I am aware that there is a common platform that you can go there and do. But there are different opportunities that are presented for us to take advantage of, and this is an example of them.
Doc, if you can hold on. Mr. Lanyo, share your experience on this with us. Being in industry, do you see such a sharp sort of deviation from what academia is doing and what industry demands?
Hello. Okay. I think we have the experience. We've already had the experience with academia. When we set up our Telecom Academy. Several times we were approached by several universities so that we can have a common program. But I think at a certain point, it was no longer a question of setting up the business. But then their fear was that how would the students understand this sort of agreement? Because if you have a university, what we forget is that a university is a university, it's academia. They are not there to teach you how to do certain things. And how they call it, the industry is also an industry. So any attempt to put the two together must be done carefully. In the first place, because I remember we had an experience with one of the biggest universities in the country, so that we could set up an industrial lab in the university for the benefit of the students. The challenge was that how would the students see the university if it happens that if they have to pay their fees and now they have to bring in a company from outside to come and teach the practicals, which they claim they know. Okay. But I don't think we should have looked at things that way. We should have simply let the student understand that we are introducing, how do you call it, a practical curriculum. But then I think the challenge was always as to how the students would appreciate it and what will be the consequence of this kind of
okay.
Yes.
All right. Yes. So Dr. Stefan, I think we come back to you for a plethora of issues you have to respond to.
So even to add to what we said whilst I go on, the university will teach you Moore's law. That's what the university will do. And that's the theory of technology. So every 18 months, there will be exponential growth whilst you miniaturize the system. That's what the university will do. The industry would say that, look, let's make an upgrade. This is the same thing we are talking about. So the university will teach you the theory of all these things. And the practice, like his company, would come and teach you the practice of it. I think collaboration is what we would always do. And I think universities today, I can speak for Ashesi University, there is a lot of collaboration between industry and real world. And we know that we are complements to each other. So I think this in conversations will continue to go on. Coming to the second, one of the questions that one gentleman asked, there are so many courses. You are doing machine learning, you are doing software engineering and all that. I was once a student. I complained the same. I said, we are doing too many things at the same time. That's a complaint that would never go away. But before you build a curriculum, there are always prerequisites. There are instances where it looks as if it's cumbersome. But every good university, again, I would speak for Ashesi, right? Before you come and do that one, we sit down from the academic board to put courses together to understand, is it so beneficial for the student when we put all these courses together, knowing that all these prerequisites are done? Is it valuable? And it's not only Ashesi University that does that, because we also played a role with IIPGH for other universities. It was the same thing that we did. And all universities begin to collaborate amongst themselves. How do we make sure that we don't overburden students? We don't ensure that we make sure that they learn things that would be able to put like their body of knowledge together. It is understandable. But as a student, we will complain that it's too much work. But by and large, we are finding ways and means to ensure that we reduce the workload. Before you complete university, there are a number of models that you need to do. There are a number of basics or core concepts that you need to be able to know before you do. Until you have done that, you cannot transfer the skill. So I think you should bear with us as from time to time. We continue to hear you. Wherever we feel that it's too much, we reduce on all those ones. So I think that's from an academic perspective. Just bear with us. You might not be in the best position to say that, why are we doing software engineering, machine learning, and all those things together? Before you can even do machine learning, there might be a prerequisite that you have to do calculus. So you needed to have done calculus in the previous semester before you come and do other things. Before you go and do even a big data, you should have done cloud computing. There are things that are prerequisite, and it's important that we have to cloud everything in one semester. Okay. We make mistakes, but we'll continue to learn.
Okay, so Doc, hold on. If we can, let the responses be brief. Professor Emil, I think you want to make a contribution. The question from the participant is that the universities seem to be churning out a lot of knowledge that they don't seem to have any direct correlation with what industry demands.
Can you repeat, please?
So the university gives so much. They seem to be learning a lot of programs, a lot of courses at the university. So mass knowledge being churned out, yet there seem to be little or no correlation at all with the requirement of industry.
Well, we have to create that room. I think technology knowledge simply is not enough. Look, I'm working in Tübingen, University of Tübingen in Germany, and this is the biggest hub for research on artificial intelligence in Europe. We have more than 200 people doing a doctorate in this field. And of course, they are technical. Of course they are. But we ask them that for their applications, they write a paragraph on social and ethical considerations of AI work. Why? Because, of course, there is society around. There are ethical questions around. And we have to distinguish that. And this is a learning process. It's not simple. And we have to prepare also for that. We have to take the time. Time is 24 hours every day for everybody. And this is why we need to consider also, well, you used to say soft skills, but it's not soft skills. It's simply thinking how we construct a society, how we construct a company. This is why I say we need the house of values and objectives where we share some values, because nobody can control what everybody does. You really have to talk about that beforehand and say where are the values where we want to go for. And this is where you really then can create value, not only for yourself, but also for the company and for the society as a whole. But it's a process which is just starting, and we need to develop the art of ethical argumentation. We have developed a sort of ethical toolbox. So what are the tools which you can use for analyzing the ethical and social implications of digital work? And this works relatively fine, but it's a long way to go, and it's really a communication process from both sides. And by the way, it's also, in a way, a spiritual process, but maybe we come to this point a little later.
Thank you. Doc, before we come to I just want you to really brief. Muniratu, I think there is a question from one of our ladies of whether you did tech in any way and how you landed your job with MTN.
Yes. So I'll just start with how all this thing began. And from my secondary school, okay, I did a course called technical, and my electives were elective maths, physics, and electricity.
Speak into the mic.
All right, so I did a technical course from beginning till today, but I want to explain it at each stage. At my secondary school, I did a course called technical, and the subjects that were my main subjects were elective maths, physics, and electricity. Okay, so later on, when I was ready, I moved to the Polytechnic. I did a course called Electrical and Electronic Engineering. And then I did my first degree in Electronic and Telecommunications. That's my BSc course. And then at Masters, I did a course called MSc Engineering Project Management. So throughout my path, it has always been engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So my lady, the job didn't just land, right? She prepared for it. Dr. Stefan.
Okay, so in a brief, succinct way, so somebody was asking, why do tech companies prefer skilled applicants to NSS? I don't know how the search is being done. I can tell you for a fact that every organization, even these days, prefer NSS to even experience people. I can tell you for a fact. You would get people go to universities like Huawei, like other organizations, come to compete with startups like us. So please look through very well and get that done. So everybody wants even an NSS now. It's a bit cheaper, it's a bit faster, it's a bit moldable, because anyone who is already done has different culture. It is easy to mold these people. The other question was, he wants to know why tech companies in Ghana, I've already said that one. How companies that's already answered.
I think you want to know how, the issue of contract and subcontract and how, we perpetuate the problem of unemployment.
Okay, let me pick that. So
can we make that brief, the responses?
Okay. For subcontract, I'll leave it to him, but you pick that one before I.
Hello. Okay. We are vendors. So when we are given a project to deliver, it means that we have to deliver that within a frame of time. For instance, if we start in March and we have to finish in I don't know, December, whatever it is, we have to finish. But then your question is that why should, instead of keeping you as a worker, is that what you're talking about?
So what he wants to know is you give the contract within such a short duration of time. Is that it? Okay, I guess we'll give you a mic so you can clarify that. But then let that question be on hold.
Yes.
So that Dr. Stephen can respond to, I guess, the last question.
Okay, so there was a question about spiritual background and work. I don't know if I heard it right. Yeah, so that was the last question I picked. Yeah, I think spirituality is very important depending on where you come from. I'm a Christian, so I would always believe in these things. There's been times where my systems went down. I did everything that I could do in terms of engineering. I had to rely on the power of God, and it worked. So it depends on you.
So can you come back to that question again? Sorry.
Okay, we would ensure that we get the mic to him. We'll capture it in our next round. Marvin, can we have the next round of questions? Please, if you have a question, please ask it briefly and simply. They would understand. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Yafi Eric. First of all, thanks to AFOS Foundation with Digicap for giving me this opportunity. Okay, my question is startups. Okay, so the question goes like, how is the executive doing out there to help university students like us, that we have an idea of being an entrepreneur to achieve our goal? Let's say, for example, Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook when he was in Harvard University 2004. And he did this with his friends, like just sharing of ideas, and they were like, hey, this
So what's your question now?
Pardon?
Your question.
Okay, so what are the executives doing to help those who want to start business, even right after or during their studies in the university?
Thank you very much. Yes, there is one just right here.
Okay. Please, my name is Ishmael Anafo. I would like to say, first of all, congratulate my dear madam for going through all those education. I have a friend who is very good in IT. He attended a 4-month computer hardware training at these local training schools, just 4 months. And in fact, if you see what he is doing, he's very, very good. He does not have money to go through all this BSc and MSc. So my question is, if we have those kind of 4 months training or lesser training, and then here's the case where the tech companies are not going to look at our certificate of participation in those 4 months, but they rather prefer these BScs and all that sort, maybe coming from bigger schools. How can we, those who don't have the funds to go through these further educations, get help? Like, where can we go and then get help so that we can also be recognized?
Thank you, Ishmael. Yeah, is there any question here we can pick up? Okay, so I guess we can have that gentleman to finish up his question. So Ishmael, the focus of your question is that it's not everybody that can have the time or the money to go through a full-time year course. So companies must recognize these short courses. Is that it? All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question was, first you say MTN, they bound all the works, like anything that should be done is done by the MTN, they themselves. But now they serve the contract. And when the contract goes to the next contractors, like they employ us, when they employ us, like they give us a short period of time for the contract to elapse. And at times they do work overload, work overtime, but that one is not being paid for. What I'm saying is, can't it be a way that MTN should maintain the same momentum as it started, so that at least we can have a reliable job? That we know, oh, at least, even if you are paying me 2 cedis, I'm doing it from this number of time, so that I can be, at least I can either upgrade myself or to do something else. Because when the subcontractors take the contract, the employers, you yourself, you know, that the employers within some short period of time, they will lay you off, you come and stay home for like 2 years without doing nothing. And Doc too have not answered my question. My question was, he was telling us that first, he made in the presentation that the small companies, they employ and train you. And he made mention about skills being required, not certificates. But here being the case, the small companies also ask us some experience. But I know experience and skills cannot be the same. Are those things not putting so much burden on somebody who has not even undertaken any job opportunity before?
Thank
that
you.
was my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lanyon, is his question to you clear?
Okay, if I well understood your question. First of all, you must know that the telcos are private companies with investors and strategies. So we don't dictate to them as to how they should run their company. And when it comes to some of us as subcontractors or vendors, that's why I was saying that we are given a job and we are given a period of time to complete the job. Once that job is done, we have nothing else to do. So we cannot keep all workers for the whole year whilst there are no jobs. So first of all, it's a matter of the strategy of their business. You understand? So, and we go by that strategy. That is why we cannot keep you either. But then once jobs comes, naturally we will keep you. There has never been a year that we haven't worked. As it is at now, all the subcontractors working with us for the past 5 years is the same people working for us, and even taking more other subcontractors. That's it, yeah.
Okay. Doc, you may want to respond to his question before.
Okay. So
Professor, just a second, I'll come to you when he's done.
Your question, I think for the experience, I don't know how the search is being done, so maybe we might have to review that one too as well. If I pick our organization, most of the people who come to work for us are coming from intern. I know some people who had no background in IT. They just had interest, had the right attitude, came to work for us at a very lower rate, even lesser than national service. Today, the person is the team lead. The person is the one who is advising me. So please let's look at how we are really looking at it again. It's a mutual thing. Please, I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so my brother, I mean, that's the essence of this program. Ensure that when we are done, you connect. Sometimes you may be searching, but you're not searching well. Sometimes you may be writing the CV, but you may not be highlighting the major areas. So let's do our best and connect. Professor, yes.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to make a comment on this issue, because I think the bridge is twofold. It's the learning journey and it's the common good. What is the learning journey? Everybody has a learning journey. It's individual. As a person, we have a learning journey from our birth to schooling, to college, to university, to our job. Companies do have a learning journey. Companies are much more complex. They are different from companies 10 years ago. We have different technologies. Look, AI is something which is normal today, but it was not normal 10 years ago. And societies also have a learning journey. So this is one thing, the learning journey. The other thing is, where I would distinguish here, is we have a concept of the common good. And what is the common good? And what is the contribution of any company to the common good? It's different, some more, some less. But the first thing which is obvious is companies create jobs, simple. Then second, companies pay tax, at least they should. Third, companies look for innovation. And this is something I really want to give you, because we forget that all our challenges in this world can be done only with a high amount of innovation. And this innovation very, very often is part of the companies. It's part of the universities as well, but it's even more, altogether, it's more in the companies. And the fourth one is, in doing so, we contribute to the solution of the problems in this world. And I think this is also a spiritual task which we should consider. So I would not too much stress the difference between private and others. And I would even say that the private companies do have the big challenge to get their, to get their financing from their clients' feedback. And the client's feedback is that they are ready to pay something for a performance. And so I would not really divide so much the worlds, but I look for combining these worlds together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Stefan, Eric wants to know, I mean, he was citing the example of Mark Zuckerberg, and he wants to know that we have a lot of talent in our system. What help is there for people who want to start with something, entrepreneurs? Is there any help? Where do they go? Who should they call?
Yeah, there are a lot of incubating hubs, like incubators around, right? All you need to do is to be able to search. And whilst we are doing that, I would also advise that you have to slow down in your haste, right? You need to do that. There is always, it's important to learn. I didn't get up to start getting business like that. I had to understudy under different companies for a long time with entrepreneurial desire to be able to get wherever I am. So whilst you're in school and you have all those ones, by all means, start the energy. Get a coach, get a mentor who will be able to guide you. By all means, do it. But it is important to get someone to mentor you. There are incubators. I think Azubi International is one, Turntable is one. Ashesi has an incubator. Stanbic Bank has an incubator.
Is there a way you can connect him to your outfit, Ashesi?
Yes. So even Stanbic Bank has an incubator, which is very vibrant. You can just go to their website and see how they are also training people to come up with their business.
So my brother, do your best and connect. Ishmael also want to, let's see Munira's thought on this.
Yeah.
You are not at HR at MTN, but I still would want to know, whether some way, somehow you are privy to the recruitment process. Do you recognize those who come in with short courses, sets?
Thank you for the question. Sorry, I would want to look at this from a different angle.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so I heard him say, for those who don't have money or funds to go through the BScs and the MScs, and I was touched by that comment. My brother, I didn't join MTN with a master's degree. I joined MTN with HND, and I've come a long way, okay? I was working, I was trekking, I was walking on my feet the length and breadth of Accra to get myself educated to this stage. So sometimes you find people at the top and you are like, it's easy to get there. So tell my sister who has experience in a short course that he should start from somewhere. She should start from somewhere, okay? Companies will turn her down, but others will take her in. I remember searching for a job in the early stage of my life in Accra. It was very difficult. I would walk, and some would say, no, you cannot do it because you are a girl, okay? But persistence, I followed through, and then today, you would think it has been that rosy. So she should keep searching. One day she will find those that will accommodate her. And when she finds that job, she should save, go to school alongside while she's on the job. That is what I would like to add. So it's not that easy.
Thank you very much.
Can I add something to that? Yeah. I want to tell you that companies know exactly what we are looking for. It's not a matter of certificate. And when we get what we are looking for, we pick you with or without certificate.
I agree.
He agrees. So let's ensure that we put up the right attitude and go with the persistence from Munira too. Can we pick our last round of questions?
I have a question myself.
You have a question?
Yeah,
okay.
Before I hand over to him. So I think it's for Impuntu. And his question, Ishmael's question brings up a very important point about apprenticeships. So one of the ways we could, in my opinion, address the issue of qualification for IT personnel is through apprenticeships. Apprenticeships from people who have demonstrable projects. So for a software guy, he might not be in a BSc or an HND class, but he has a good GitHub profile. he's worked on some JavaScript projects. He has some Node.js projects, even without an HND. So how can firms, startup firms like Ubuntu, recognize brilliant people who haven't been to university or polytechnics, but still have demonstrable projects to show? So can you take them on as apprentices or in teaching apprentices in your firm? That's my question to you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
so you hold on, because we need to take the last round of questions. Please make your questions quite brief. We just want to close within this time so you can have your day. Yes, sir.
I'm Salman Bassam. I'm a student of GCTU. My first question is, it's in regards to ladies in this field. I feel, what are you doing to try to recruit more ladies into this field? As I feel, this is a field where you can work from home, and I feel much safer if my sister, my mother, or someone works from home and doesn't have to do all that. Another question.
No, so please clarify that question. What are we doing to create what?
Yeah, what are we doing to recruit ladies and to pull their attention to this field, and then the benefits it can have? My next question is, I think, what are we doing to the general public to actually recruit more hands? Because earlier we said we are in the 4th industrial revolution and we shouldn't be left behind. So we need more hands on deck to be able to keep up with other places. So what are we doing generally to pull more minds towards this field so that we won't be left behind as we have been earlier? Thank you.
Thank you. So we have just 2 more hands and we'll be done, right?
Hello, my name is Isaac, and my question is, for someone entering into tech, would you advise a person to go after vendor-specific technology or a technology that cuts across? Because I'm asking this question because I was working with one company and the equipment we used was Cisco equipment. So I went in for CCNA. However, I realized that most of the technologies we have around are Huawei technologies, like our Cisco routers we use around our Huawei technologies. So we need many of such people around. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll pick a contribution from the last person.
Okay, my name is Joseph Tingan. My question is to Doc. I just want to find out what are the things one needs to do to be able to fit into your organization?
Okay, Marvin, I'm sorry, but this hand has been up for some time. I just saw him. So, Doc, as we try to reach the last person, can you pick it up from what your organization is ready to do for people like Ishmael, as Marvin asked?
Okay, so...
Yeah, let's have the last one, please. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hello. My name is Charles Crosby Atipo, CEO of Douglas Foundation. You know, Ghana is the gateway to West Africa, and Ghana is the first country to have independence in sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana has all the commodities: gold, diamond, platinum, timber, and our country is one of the lowest in economy out of money laundering. And ICT is the best. It's fetching in all Africa, India, and everywhere. And our employment is very low. So I'm pleading with you people to invest in the youth so that in future we can take over from you people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess we can have responses from our guest. And as you respond, you also want to put in your closing remarks.
Okay. So in terms of apprenticeship, like, I don't know if you guys follow Ubuntu a lot. For the past 2 years, we've picked over, I think the first time we took over 250 students on internship to get them to work with us and train them on how things are done. When you come, we'll train you for a number of times and do that. Last year also, we picked over 90 people. This vacation, we picked some. I even met some people here. They took pictures with me. There's a program that we have every year. And during the internship program, we try to get the best 10 and give them scholarship, give them money every month and all those ones. It has nothing to do with skill. The scholarship is given based on attitude. So we observe how you work, how you do your things, how you have stamina to to resist during turbulence time. Then over time, a group of engineers will train you, a group of marketers, depending on the area you find yourself. So there are a lot of programs. It's not only in Puntu alone. A lot more people do that one. So please, I think it's the search that we need to do. And we should try to also understand and be patient that when you are rejected, it doesn't mean it is all. It means you have to push hard, get other institutions. So in Puntu, we have a training session. Even as now, there are a lot of job openings that we want at Puntu. But the process of going through the psychometric test is what people are not interested. I get people, relatives calling me that, okay, I want my son, my child, this person is good. I give them the link. They do 1, 2, 3, and they don't continue. So that resilience is part of the whole process. So I think that there are most of these programs that are available, right? So please, I would advise that you can visit our links again. The second one was, how do we help ladies? I'll leave the lady to answer that one, and all that one. Then, how do we get more hands? I didn't understand that question. There's somebody asked hands on and all that. I didn't get that. And the other person asked for vendor-specific things. Look, irrespective of whether it is Ericsson, it is Huawei, the fundament is the same. I was working on Ericsson tools when Huawei came. It's the same process. The foundation is the same. That is just the way you operate it, that is different. You give yourself 1 month, you'll be able to take it. So I would say that you don't worry. If it's Ericsson you are learning, try and learn Ericsson as much as you can. If another opportunity comes, go and learn. I was programming in my time, I was programming in Java. But when a lot more people started PHP and all those, I started learning that on my own. So I would advise that you don't have to worry about that. What do you need to have to fit in Puntu or in any other organization? I think it was answered in the morning. Attitude is all that we need. So that's what I'll leave there.
Thank you very much. Munirat, will you please respond to that question for me?
Can you repeat it for me?
Okay, I guess the person wanted to know what we are doing as a country, systems operating in the country, to ensure that more ladies, get the opportunity in the tech industry and also feel safe to work at home.
Okay, so I think we should start this from the home, okay? And as parents, we should encourage our boys and girls equally. There shouldn't be roles for just the male and the female. In my house, I have 2 kids. The boy cooks, the girl cooks. So we should start it from home, and in schools as well, we should encourage both sexes equally. When we groom people from the start to understand that they can do things equally, then they'll grow up with it. And when they are picking their careers, it would come naturally. So it's our responsibility on all of us to sensitize both the male and the female to think that everything is possible for everybody. If all of us are thinking like that, then we wouldn't have a case where we would have to talk about only girls as a topic. So we should start it from the home. That's what I believe in.
Okay, thank you. Professor Himel, and that will be your final comment.
Yes. Thank you very much. I want to come back to one question which has been asked in a former round, but it wraps up very nicely. It is, how can I find my specialization? And I think, generally speaking, there are 3 ways to find specialization. One is simply to go the path of challenge. I look for the highest challenge I have. But this, however, of course, is difficult, and some like it, some don't. The other one is I go for delight. What do I like? And normally, things you like are things you are eager to learn, and come back to this eager to learn. And the third one is competences. If you are in an institution where you have prime competences in a certain field, it is probable that you can learn a lot in that field. So I think these are the path for, say, specializations. But the real point in the end, if you come to a company, the specialization is one thing. Your real work is another thing. And what you need there is really the eagerness to learn. Eagerness to learn means you adapt to a new situation and you look what is really needed, what is my ecosystem in my work. And there's one term which I would like to give you, well, in concluding this session. It is a term called employability. What is employability? The term means that you continue to adapt your own skills, qualifications, soft skills and hard skills to the ever-evolving labor market, but also along a path of your own interest and specialization. If you do that, then you will be the navigator of your own career. You will be the navigator of your own life, and you will find the company you want to work with instead of eagerly looking, is there any company who likes me? No, you must be the navigator of your life, looking for your skills, your deep qualification, and really your employability along your learning journey in life. Thank you very much.
Let's appreciate our resource persons. Yes. Thank you all very much. For now, we would ask that you still take your seat, because we are picking up just the last segment of this program. When we are done, we want our participant to be able to locate you. So when you are sitting here, it's safe. Those who want to network, those who want to take photographs with you can easily walk to you. The last part of our program, we would want to call on Kuku. Kuku Sam is a representative of AFOS Foundation, and then IIPGH, and Kuku would want to make a very brief statement. Kuku, where is Kuku? Okay, great. Let's welcome him with a hand of applause. Kuku, briefly, I thought you had disappeared.
Thank you very much. A little correction. I am a rep of IIPGH and not AFOS. So, distinguished speaker, panel discussant, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to commend you for making time to attend this I think is the third edition of our Industry Academia Tech Dialogue INDAC-TED as part of the Tech Job Fair 2022. I would like to reiterate a few points that have been shared here. I think we should go away considering some of the things that have been shared, especially the issue of communication skills. And I think communication skills is very important, irrespective of the sector that you find yourself. And one other thing that I also picked that I want to emphasize is the need for having deep knowledge in your field, but also general knowledge in allied fields. And for those of you who have been following the World Economic Forum, you realize that especially with this fourth industrial revolution, as people try to specialize, okay, generally skills are also becoming more important. And so I think it is important that we take note of this. And I also want to emphasize the role of values. So as individuals, as organizations have values, as individuals, we need to have values. And this is important. And for those of you looking for jobs, there is something you need to take note. And when I'm talking to young people, I always mention this. You should see your work as you. Because if your work is presented to someone and you are not there, what will the work say about you? So you want a job, but if you write a CV or a cover letter, what will that CV or cover letter communicate? And so you should have values, values like excellence. I mean, attention to detail. Write the CV, go through again, make sure there are no mistakes. These things are important. And finally, I want to repeat that we should look for opportunities with small organizations. And trust me, if it has been said by our panelists, and I'll repeat again, if you work in a big organization, you are part of a production chain. And so you don't see the big picture. you only concentrate on what you have to do. If you work in a small organization, you'll be asked to do different things, and in the process, you will learn a lot more. And on this note, I will want to say a big thank you to AFOS Foundation for sponsoring this program, to AHK, and also to IIPGH for putting all this together. Thank you very much.
Kuku, thank you very much. So the vote of thanks has been done. Importantly, once again, is also to thank our resource persons, and especially to our guest speaker, Dr. Stefan. Please let's appreciate him once again. To Mr. Lanyo, to Madame Munira, to Professor, we are very glad, Professor Himmel, we are very glad that all of you made the time to share some knowledge with us. I guess this is also part of what we get to learn on the field of internship, and we're very glad that you made the time to do this. To all of you who sat in, did a lot of taking note, to those of you who asked questions, and those of you who came in as companies, as associates, thank you very much. This is sincerely appreciated. Remember, this comes your way every quarter. So do your best and monitor our social media pages so that whether we are having it in Ho, in Takrady, in Cape Coast, or in Accra, you can make the time to come and share what you have gotten. For those who are still searching and seeking for jobs, always remember that joy comes in the morning. My name is Amma Bauer. Once again, thank you very much and have a very beautiful Thursday. So on that note, you are free to interact, you are free to take contact, you are free to take pictures with our resource persons. Thank you.